Welcome in, I'm Artress, and in this video we're going to be going over OP14 Purple Doflamingo in the OP15 meta because I feel like it fits a certain niche and it's a great answer to Purple Enel, which has been running amok as of late. This leader ability is very unique and also very tricky on how to play around it. It says on your opponent's attack once per turn, Don -1, select your leader or one of your Don Quixote Pirates type characters and change the target of this attack to the selected card. This combat trick can be rather frustrating for opponents to deal with because if they're looking to attack a certain subject, then you can always redirect it to something else. But before we go over the deck list and end to any gameplay, if you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that sub button and give the video a thumbs up. It helps out the channel so much. Thank you all for the support. Additionally, if you'd like to talk about the One Piece card game outside of the YouTube comments, make sure to join the Discord community. The link for that is in the description below. So with this deck, it didn't change too much from OP14 to OP15, but there is one crucial change that we did make. So we'll go over these cards rather quickly, and then we'll go over what we changed from 14 to 15. So starting off, we're running a playset of Sugar. It's a searcher that finds a Don Quixote Pirate at the top 5. So this is a recurable searcher, so if your opponent leaves it on the field, you can use it again and again and again. Then we have a playset of Dellinger. It's a one-time search on KO, adds up to 1 Don card from your Don deck and rests it, and then look at the top 5 and grab a Don Quixote Pirate. You can redirect with your leader ability into this character and get that on KO, and you're not losing Don in the process because it does ramp you back up. So very nice searcher and also can keep you on curve. We're running a playset of Usohachi. Just being able to rest blockers, especially like Borsalinos in this meta, would be very handy. And because this is not searchable, we want to make sure that we do find it on time, so that's what we have 4 of. For my 4-cost spot, I'm running 2 of the 4-cost Sugar and then 2 of the 4-cost Baby 5. To be quite honest, I wish I could fit more of these in here, but with the Sugar in this meta against Purple Enel, it just never works with this effect because the on KO says if your opponent has 6 or more Don cards on their field, you can play up to 1 Don Quixote Pirate type character card with the cost of 5 or less from your hand. But if your Enel opponent is just going to minus Don to begin with, then this will never actually take place. So that's why I've cut this down in the deck, because if you are expecting to go against a lot of Purple Enels, this card is useless in that matchup. It's actually pretty good in other matchups, but in the Purple Enel matchup, you're not going to want to see this. The other thing is Baby 5 in this meta is actually pretty solid with the amount of aggression that we do see, especially with Purple Enel and also with all of the decks that take life, like Yellow Nami. So this card you might also want to increase as well. I'll go over some ratios or things you might want to change at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I want to be upfront about this. I wish I could run more Baby 5, but the way that I've cut the deck is I'm just running 2 and 2 on these. Then I'm running 1 of the 5-cost Rosinante. It's an on-play. You may trash 1 event from your hand, draw 2 cards, and then end of your turn, you can restand 2 Don cards. If you have 7 or more on your field, restand them as active, which plays into what you do pretty well because we have counter events that rest that cost 2. We can also ramp back up with the 8-cost Doffy effect. So I am running 1 of these because I don't necessarily like to play this at all times, and the deck isn't centered around this card. But if I do see it and I want to play it down or have an opportunity to play it down, it is pretty handy, but it's one of those that's not going to change the game too much. What I do want to find is the 5-cost Virgo. So we have a playset of this. It's a 5-cost 7,000 power character. Once per turn, if your Don Quixote Pirates type character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, return 1 Don card to your Don deck instead, and then when attacking, this is the part that I really like about it, is Don -1, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn, so it allows you to trade into characters a lot easier for only reducing 1 Don on your side of the field. I think honestly the most important thing though is being able to have protection for your board, because we are running pretty much all Don Quixote Pirates. Actually, the only thing we're not running that's Don Quixote Pirate is the Usohachi 2K counter, which you're not going to really want to play early anyway. So with that in mind, you can protect the rest of your board with this character. For some more 2Ks, I'm running a playset of Treble. It's a 5-cost, 5,000 power that says on the opponent's turn once per turn. This effect can be activated when a Don card on your field is returned to your Don deck. If your leader has the Don Quixote Pirates type, add up to 1 Don card from your Don deck and rest it. So basically, it just allows you to use your leader ability for free if it's on the field. Typically, I'm going to have something else on the field instead, but I do think that this is a pretty solid card overall. Then the main addition to the deck, which I don't think I was running too many of these before in OP14, but the reason that I'm running a playset of Pika in this set is because with the 10-cost Doffy, which is so important to your game plan, which we'll go over in a second, if this card is on the field, you can actually chain the 10 cost pretty easily because of the fact that you ramp back up every turn. And on top of that, the Don that comes back at the end of the turn is standing upright, so you can use it with the 8-cost Doffy effect to then go up to 9 and also use your leader abilities to go back down to 8 and then play a 10 cost on the next turn. So we'll demonstrate this hopefully over the course of the video, but this is the main reason why we have a playset of Pika, in order for us to be able to ramp up to 10 consistently so we can get those multiple 10 drops back to back to back. Then I'm running 3 Monet. I really like this card as well, and probably something that I would want to run a playset of, because if you don't find the Pika and you play the Monet instead, and then you play a 10 drop, you can actually still chain them if you target the KO on the Monet, because the fact that you can draw 2 trash 1, and then you can ramp up to 2 Dawn cards. So this will allow you to get back to 10 the next turn. You are losing a body in the process. It is a very important card overall and can help you fix your hand also in the meantime, but I wanted to do a 3-1 split because I wanted to include Rosinante in this, because I do think, because we are running 8 counter events, or just 8 events in general rather, that this is a somewhat useful card at times, but this is one that I'm going to be more happy to see than not, because it does ramp you also on play. It can get you to that 8 Dawn if you are going first. So I do think this is a very important card, and you might want to include this at 4 of instead. Then I'm running 2 of the 6 cost 8,000 power Rosian Law from EBO4. It's a blocker and on play. If the number of Dawn cards on your field are equal to or less than the number on your opponent's side of the field, draw 1 card, and then you can add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So there's a couple of uses here. I usually like to play this late game. You can play this on curve or around curve, especially if you're going against an opponent that ramps pretty fast. Typically, there's not going to be too many of those in the current meta, but I will say that this is a very nice card to have in the end game, especially if you are obviously equal in Dawn to your opponent, 10 to 10. You can play this down and get a card draw, so it replaces itself. You can also use this in conjunction with the Virgo, so that you can minus something first with the Virgo effect, and then on 10, play this out, get the Dawn back, and then also draw a card, so you're recycling that Dawn very efficiently. Totally not a necessary card for this deck, but I do think that it is a very strong card, and if it can come down early or even late, it's hard for the opponent to get past, because it's basically an additional life. The 8,000 power block stat line is pretty hard for a lot of people to get over, and I think that if you have this on the field, plus also your leader ability, then you're pretty much set defensively for a turn or two, so I really like it, but it's not necessary for the overall deck list. Then we're running 4 of the 8 cost Doffy, because this helps us go really wide. It's an on-play Dawn -1. You can play up to 1 5 cost or lower Don Quixote Pirate type character card from your hand. So we have quite a lot of options. I am personally always trending to try to play out the Virgo if I can, because once this hits the board, it's really hard for any of your stuff to be removed from the board. So really strong card overall, but you can pair it with the Pika or the Monet or even the Treble at worst. You can also do it with these 4 drops as well, which is a pretty good target, but I do like this 8 cost a lot, and we have it a play set because I think it's really important to be able to play this down as soon as you can, and then start playing the 10 cost. If you can't play this before the 10 cost, games tend to be a little bit harder. Then we're playing a playset of the 10 drop. We were not playing a playset of the 10 drop in OP14. We were barely even running 3 of these things. Getting them back to back to back was really hard to do, but with this deck list, because of the fact that we are able to ramp more consistently and also follow-up ramp with the 10 is very important, and this is such a strong card for this meta because it has 2 modes. The modes say Dawn -3, you can either stun 3 7 cost or lower characters from attacking or blocking for a whole turn, or you can KO up to one of your opponent's characters that is cost 8 or less. So it does hit a couple of things. If you're going against decks that go really wide, like maybe against Bell Luffy, you can stun 3 of those units. Very important against purple Enel, because the 6 cost Enel can be stunned, and if they start chaining them out and then you play this, they are basically losing a lot of tempo because they can't swing with those 3 units at least. So really good card in that matchup. Or if you are going against something like Lucy, for instance, you can use the KO effect to get rid of the 7 cost Sabo blocker, which is very important for their game plan. So this has a couple of different uses. I really like this card, and I'm glad that I'm able to run it at a playset in this meta. I think it's very important to see. You usually only need 2 to 3, but if you do see all 4, that's good for you, because obviously if you can chain these out with the Pika on the field being able to get you back up to 10 the next turn, it's a very strong way for this deck to come back, especially if it's starting to fall behind. Then I'm running a playset of Divine Departure. We are only running 8 2Ks in this list, and we are running a lot of bricks, and this is able to help us pitch those bricks. So this counts as 4 2Ks, and the other part of this is that you can rest 5 of your Dawn cards. If you have any given Dawn cards, then you can give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 8,000 power during this turn. So a really solid way to be able to take back the board, especially if your opponent has established a really tall character. This is a great way to be able to get that back, especially if you can also do this with the Virgo. So you go minus 8,000, minus 2,000, and it's very easy for anything to trade into it. And then finally, we're running a playset of the Noro Beam Sword, or Slow Beam Sword. It's a 2 cost counter event that says Dawn -1, give up to one of your characters or leaders plus 2,000 power for the battle, then rest up to one of your opponent's characters. Can be any character, doesn't matter. Usually what you're going to do is try to get out of a smaller attack and then prevent a bigger attack from happening, or if you need to bypass or get past a blocker rather, this is a great way to do this on defense. I do this quite often when your opponent is trying to be aggressive and they have a blocker established, like a 10 cost Newgate. You can use this to rest the Newgate, or a Borsalino, for instance. So really important card for the game plan to be able to play defensively, plus also force your opponent to rest their characters, where maybe they don't want to rest a character because they don't want you to trade into it. You can also use that for that effect as well. So Really, overall, great utility with this card. The trigger also, if it comes out of life, allows you to ramp up one, which we are de-ramping aggressively at times, so this can help out in those moments. As far as matchups go, we are hard targeting Purple Enel if we can. I do think that this deck has a great answer to Purple Enel with the 10 cost. The longer the game goes on, the better it is actually for us. We can get out of all the other attacks by redirecting. Against Nami, though, that is where I do think that this deck suffers, and maybe that's just in my own playstyle. In my opinion, I do think that this deck really struggles against blue-yellow Nami, so let's see if we can get some games against them and see if there's a way we can crack that list, because I do think that that matchup is pretty hard for us overall. But I think into other decks in the meta, I'm honestly pretty confident in Doflamingo as a leader overall. I am surprised I don't see it more often, but I do think that there are quite a lot of people on Purple Enel right now and quite a lot of people on blue-yellow Nami, so understandably so. This does have a nice little rogue factor too, because I don't think people are going to really be expecting this leader to be played too much. But like I said, it's in a really good spot in the meta, at least in my opinion. So let's take this list into the sim and see how it does. Into Purple Enel, they choose to go first, which is not the best for us. It's going to be okay because we have double Dellinger in hand and we can eventually get to that 8 cost Doflamingo. We just have to quell their aggression in the meantime. The Lightning Dragon is going to hurt a little bit. We have to be aware of that, but of course it's a dead card in hand as well. So overall good for us to see. There is no dog, there is no ohm, so we don't have to worry about the double attack at all, which is one of the things that's really nice about this leader is you can divert that attack to something else, so that's not really a concern for us anyway. L4 is something that they grabbed off the pudding. I doubt they're going to use it on the Dellinger, but they could, and if they do, we could ramp up for free, which is pretty nice for us, but I doubt that they're going to use that. I would hope that they wouldn't. So we're going to go ahead and just redirect one of these back into the Dellinger, and we will be able to ramp up with the Baby 5 this next turn. I think Baby 5 is pretty important overall to have to be able to eventually, you know, stay alive. So we'll go 2 into 2 with this Dellinger, and then we'll go and play out the Baby 5, ramp up 1, and then we can put the Sugar in place as well for maybe subsequent turns to be able to search out something with. Like, we don't really have anything great to do this next turn because we're going into 7. They throw down their 6-drop, so already, yikes. But hey, it's fine. We are, we'll be fine. We'll be able to get out of this. Them pitching one is not the best thing for me because that means they probably have way more in hand as well. So unlucky there, but oh well. 6 into lead. We'll go ahead and redirect this into the Dellinger. And I guess we could grab a Pika because I think Pika is pretty important. We are bypassing one of the 10 drops. We did get a Pika out of life. Of course, that's just how it works. I think here what we can do is we can probably play down the Rosian Law. I think that's going to be okay to throw this down. Let's swing 5 into the pudding first, so it's one less target to be attacking us this next turn. We can search with the Sugar, and then we can establish the Rosian Law. We could also throw like a Monet or a Pika out, but I do want to make it a little bit tougher for them to try to get rid of this Rosian Law. Although, to be fair, it's not that tough. All they have to do is like Gamma Knife and then L4. So that is something to keep in mind. But we will be grabbing another 10-drop off of this Sugar. Very good for us. And I think here what we could do is we are going to 9 next turn. So we don't really want to use our redirect into the Baby 5, unfortunately. Okay, so they are playing the Reiju into a Gamma Knife to minus 5,000 to the Rosian Law. They do have the L4 in hand, which we knew about. So they'll go ahead and pop this Rosian Law, giving their leader plus 1,000. Then they can use their leader effect. And another L4. Okay, so maybe they don't want me to redirect into the Baby 5, but this is actually, it works out a lot better for us this way because we don't have to minus. Instead, we can just do 1-, and then we can play an 8 cost the next turn, establish a Pika probably, and then hope that the Pika survives. Here they use leader ability. They're going to go 7 into lead. I think we're just going to take both of these and call it a day at this point. I'm not too entirely worried. And then what we can do, like I said, is the 8 cost. I think we just swing 5 into lead, but we could do 8 cost Pika. We could also do 8 cost. Here's the problem. If we do 8 cost Pika could just die, which is kind of just unfortunate, but we could also do 8 cost Monet. We could also do 8 cost Baby 5, or sorry, Sugar, the 4 cost. I think we just do Pika just to go ahead and get it out there and see if it sticks, because if it can stick now, I think we're in a pretty good spot for the rest of the game. Looks like they're just going to go really big. 9 into lead. I guess we go ahead and just use the 8 cost ability. We'll take that hit. I don't really want to lose anything here, which is really unfortunate. So we'll see what they do. They're going to go ahead and play Imamuragan to rest the Sugar. That's fine, which also makes the Reiju a +5 and then +2,000. So yikes. They're going to go ahead and Lightning Dragon. I guess what they did was they ended up not seeing the Mama, or they had the Mama to begin with, and then they saw the chitin to be able to minus 1,000 to the Pika. So a little bit of a unfortunate sequence for them, but good for us at least. At least this Pika can live, hopefully. They're going to go ahead, and I'm just going to redirect it into the sugar because, yeah, we're not going to be able to use the sugar anyway, especially if we're going to be chaining 10 drops. So here we are sitting at 0 life, and then we can start finally chaining these 10 drops. We're going to try to bait something out of them. We're going to go 5 lead, 6 lead, and hopefully get a couple of counter. If they counter out of this one, I'm going to turn my attention into the Reiju and go 9 into 7 because it is a little bit harder for them to defend this, and then we can go ahead and freeze all of these units here, and all they can do this next turn is attack with their leader. And if they attack with their leader with all the Dawn on their leader, then they could go like 6, so that's like 11, and we could just redirect and then give it 2k. They do play out the blocker Enel. They give it blocker as well, so that's pretty good for us because we can just do another 10 drop. And the 10 drop can freeze the blocker from blocking. It can stop one of the Satoris and then one of the 6 drops from attacking as well. So they're going to go ahead and Lightning Dragon the Pika. I don't mind because the Pika isn't really here to serve the purpose of attacking. It's here to be able to ramp up. So as long as it sits on the field, I think we're going to be okay. Looks like they're just churning through their deck to see if they can find anything useful for the next turn. Which doesn't look like they are really playing anything useful to begin with. So Vari being able to buff their... Actually, that is a very useful card because I cannot stun the 6 drop. Okay, that actually is pretty good. I take that back. So here, they're going to go ahead and just attack 6 with their leader. I'm going to go ahead and play the 10 drop, and then I have to freeze these 3 units so they cannot rest. So it means that the Enel blocker does not get to block. The Satoris don't get to swing. They don't get to see the top of their life. And this 6 drop, which is now an 8 drop, actually does get to swing this next turn, which is really unfortunate for us. But we will be able to survive because we have so much counter in hand. And this is kind of how you have to play it. You have to chip them down. You have to build up a hand size, hopefully find a bunch of searchers, waste their time, get to 10, and then chain these 10 drops so that they can't really do anything beyond swing with their leader, and then maybe one character, if they have it, that can be rested. So overall, I think we're in a pretty good spot. We do have this next turn where we have to play pretty defensive. I'm going to go ahead and I think I have to counter out of this one because they can just put the rest of the Dawn on the 6 drop, like by using some minus effects. So we'll go ahead and give them a bunch of cards out of hand. I'm not going to give them the 2k because if they establish a blocker, I can rest, which I don't think they have, except for maybe Frankie. Then I think having the Usohachi would be pretty useful overall. They're just going to swing 10 here. They didn't have, I guess, any kind of cantrips to be able to minus Dawn. That's really good for us. We'll go ahead and then redirect into the Doffy and then give them a 1k. And then they're probably going to use their blocker ability here because they are in a lot of trouble if they don't have a blocker, because we can just swing like 11 and the rest on the other one. So regardless, I think we're in a pretty good spot here. I think we just start off with a 9. You go 9 to lead, see if they take this. I'm pretty sure that they would... I mean, this is really hard for Enel to get out of. Enel is susceptible to pretty big hits, so a good way to get through them is 9s. 11, and then another 11. Hopefully, we can get through here, but they might have enough to get out of one of these. They might block another one. We'll have to see what they have, but it's kind of hard to read their hand, especially with Mama, because Mama can just give them +1 and then draw, so it replaces itself. Harder to really understand what kind of hand size we're looking at. Speaking of Mama, there it is. So they are able to look like they get out of this one, but we can just easily give them a 7. They can't get out of a 7 with 1 card, and they have 1 blocker. We have 2 more attacks. So this is how you have to do it. You have to be able to chain the 10 drops, stun their units from attacking, and then just take back the momentum from there. Into Lucy, just hard mulligan that hand. I'm going to go first, and I think this is pretty solid because we can play a Dellinger down into a Sugar. Now, if they don't play any kind of searchers or anything like that, the Sugar is really free to play down. Rebecca is not the worst thing because I don't think they're going to tap this thing sideways to get rid of a searcher on my end, but I've seen crazier things happen. I think if they play another searcher after this, though, then yeah, it could be where we might want to hold the Sugar back. Just depends. But looks like they're going to grab a Bari pistol off of the... Okay, Leo is something that we do actually want them to swing with. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the Sugar down and hope to incentivize them here. So they do take that hit, good for us. We'll grab an 8 drop, and then we'll just play another Dellinger down and have a second one ready to go. Now, if they want to swing the Leo into the Sugar, we're glad about that because we want this Leo tap sideways so we can eventually start getting rid of bodies once we do play the 10 drop down. Although the 10 drop does get rid of the 7-cost Sabo, so we don't have to really worry about the Leo too much. Cavendish, perfect card for them. They're going to go 5 into, I'm assuming, the Sugar here. We'll redirect into a Dellinger and just get a search off in the meantime. And then with this, yeah, we'll easily just grab a 10 drop because we have 2 in that top 5, and we don't want to pass another one up if we don't have to. So this turn, I think what we could do is, oh gosh, this is a little bit of an interesting spot to be in. I kind of want to play out the baby 5 and just go ahead and use the sugar effect, see what else we can get. Grab another sugar off of this, swing 5 into lead, and then play the other sugar to end the turn, because I'm assuming that the sugar will go down. They do have a Bari Bari pistol, so they might want to use that on the baby 5. If they use it on the baby 5, I'm pretty happy with that. It's the reason I didn't play the Pika out, because if I play the Pika out, the Pika is just gone. And I also want to ramp this turn so I can get to 8 next turn. So if we played the Virgo this turn, we wouldn't be able to actually ramp out efficiently. So that's why I think baby 5 is the best out of all the options. If it eats a pistol, it eats a pistol. That's fine with me. 6 into 1, yeah, we'll let this one go. If they have any attacks to life, that's when we redirect into the Dellinger. On 6, this could be a pistol or it could be a second Cavendish. We would rather not see a second Cavendish, but we don't really have options at this point. If they start playing more Cavendish, we could always play for the deck out game, which is a thing, but okay, so another card draw, Dressrosa Kingdom. That's actually pretty good for them because they can defend their Cavendish a lot easier now. Looks like it is going to be a Bari Bari pistol. Okay, so they're pistoling our baby 5. I'm okay with that. We'll get a ramp or re-ramp back up. We'll grab another Virgo here. I think is fine. And then we'll go ahead and swing 5 into lead. I just want to see if I can get cards out of hand here. Usually they'll go down to 2 life, Lucy does, and then they start countering out because they can play the 7-drop Sabo and be pretty good from there. What do we do? I think we actually play the Doffy into the Pika here, because the Pika will ramp us up, and if they can't answer the Pika here, then I think we're in a pretty good spot to continue to potentially chain if we see another 10-drop in the next like life or top deck. Swinging 6 into 5, and they're pitching a pistol as well. Okay, they probably have another pistol ready to go. If that's the case, we'll go ahead and take this life. If they play a Sabo pistol, then yeah, that's 3 pistols that we've seen. Only one more, and it's fine that they're getting them out of the way. Like, we don't have a Virgo on the field. I understand that. We're bypassing, like, it's okay for them to remove our characters because of the fact that we need to get to 10 as soon as we can. So we're going to redirect this attack into the 8-drop, and then we're going to play a 10-drop, and then we're going to pop the Sabo. So we get rid of the first one they play, and I am not turning this 8-drop sideways. They could run into an issue this next turn where they go Sabo into 7-cost Fire Fist, into 2-cost Fire Fist, and get rid of the 8-drop, or even get rid of the 10-drop for that matter. But that's one of the reasons you could establish a Virgo down, but we wanted to get to 10 as soon as we could. I think regardless, we're in an okay spot where they can't answer 2 bodies in a turn, and so at least one of these big bodies will stick, and hopefully we can start pressuring the Cavendish pretty soon as well. We'll have to see what they do this turn, though. They're on 10, so they have plenty of options. Yep, another Sabo comes down with a Fire Fist. They have 3 remaining Dawns, so if they do use the last 2 for a 2-cost Fire Fist, rather unfortunate, but sometimes that's, yeah, it looks like that's the case. Minus 4,000 KO. They could have done it to the 10-drop. I think that they probably have another one ready to go as well, so I think they're fine with that. 6 in a lead. I could redirect any of these attacks, but honestly, I'm okay just getting more cards in hand and seeing more options for this next turn. We want to make sure that we're not deramping too much overall. What we would like is to be able to use the sugar, and then with the sugar search, hopefully find an 8-drop off of it. And if we can find an 8-drop off of it, we find a 10-drop, which is fine. Another turn, we'll be able to play that. What we can do here is swing 5 into lead, and then see if they give us any blocks, if they give us any cards out of hand. And then I think our best option could potentially be a 4-cost baby 5 into a Virgo. That's a pretty solid option overall, and that will allow us to at least heal back up. And then if we want, we can do the option of, playing to 10, so we can get rid of this other Sabo this next turn, which I think is probably our best bet. We could also, we're at 10 right now, so we can just redirect into the baby 5 and then use the effect to heal up. So we're actually not going to be in a bad spot after this turn. If they do start swinging with the rest of their stuff, like the 7-cost Sabo, we do have to be kind of aware of that. We should probably counter out of one of these attacks. I'm okay taking one of them, and then the redirect, of course, will be the baby 5. They're going to use the follow me. I'm assuming that they're going to be looking for the 7-cost Sabo. They want to establish as many of these as they possibly can. 1-cost Rebecca coming down as well. There's the Sabo. Snap grab from them. They have 8 Dawn to play with, so they can't do Fire Fist, which they couldn't at this point anyway because of the fact that Virgo's on the field. But now, what they could potentially do is play a 7-cost Sabo into a Flame Fruit. Looks like they're going to try to get rid of this sugar. We're okay with that going down. We don't really need that for the next turn because we are playing the 10-drop. And then here, I would imagine, as I said, probably another Fire Fist would be good for them to reduce the attack of something. I would assume that they're probably going to do it to maybe the Virgo and try to bait the 10 drop to swing in, because I don't want to turn the 10 drop over sideways until I see as many Fire Fists out of their hand as possible. So that is going to be the best bet or best time to swing with that 10 drop. I'll just swing with Leader in the meantime, and maybe Virgo. I doubt they will, though. Out comes the Sabo into the Fire Fist, and they are freezing the Virgo from really attacking in, which they're trying to, I think, incentivize me to swing with my 10 drop. I actually might, because of the fact that if I swing with a 10 drop, it pressures the Cavendish pretty well. So let's see what they do here, though. We'll go ahead and use the Baby 5 effect, and maybe they want to swing with a Sabo. If they want to swing with a Sabo, I'm actually pretty happy with that as well, because that means one less thing for us to worry about being blocked by. And then we can get rid of the other Sabo with the 10 drop. Yeah, they are swinging it. That's really good for us. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just immediately play this 10 drop down, KO the Sabo, swing 5 to lead, see if we can get a card out of hand. And then do we want to pressure the Cavendish? Because if we pressure the Cavendish, then we potentially risk losing the 10 drop as a result. But I think it's fine to get this Rebecca blocker out of the way as well. They only have 2 more 7-cost Sabos, and I think they probably could be running any of the new versions where they're running like the 10-cost Newgate. Boa is pretty solid here, but usually they're mostly running Cavendish Sabo. Down comes, is this the 4th one? Into the 3rd Fire Fist. Yeah, I mean, hey, this is Sabo for you. They see a lot of what they need. I think I want to go ahead and redirect this one. I'm not going to be playing to 10, so we'll redirect into this. I want to see if they can swing their Sabo into lead, or into this character, which they're swinging Leader into that. Let's see if they want to risk this last Sabo. Put me down. I mean, with the Rebecca on the field, this is actually okay for them to risk this because of the fact that it's not that bad. They have a couple of blockers to protect it with, so that's pretty good if they want to swing the Sabo. They're thinking about it hard, but they opt to not swing. Totally good for us. We'll go ahead and then play out an 8-cost into a... I think another 5-cost is fine here, actually. We want to get bricks out of hand, and having a second Virgo is, I think, probably the best bet. We could play the Monet. Monet's not a problem. Like, it's a good target for us to be able to redirect, but I'm going to go ahead and just swing 7 into 4. They'll probably... I was going to say free block that one. That's totally fine. We'll swing 5 into 4. This one's probably a 2K. And then if they... I mean, they could free block this one as well. 2K, and then I think we just go 10 into 4 here, and then they'll probably use the Rebecca to block this one. They could also block with a Sabo and give us a 2K. Honestly, very good as well. So they were able to protect the Cavendish pretty easily. We are looking at a spot where we have 2 life left. Our board's looking pretty good. We finally have established a pretty sizable board. We are not in any danger of like deramping too much. I think if... Okay, so Just Watch Me could be a problem if they decide to try to trade into our board. Looks like they're going into the Virgo. We're fine with the Virgo going down. They pitch a Flame Fruit. Good to see that. We don't want them to have to play that and then us go down to potentially 0. We have to redirect into something, which is not always fun. They do get to draw a lot of cards off that, though. And then what could they possibly do? They're out of Sabos, so... I mean, they could start playing more Cavendish. They could play... I mean, at this point, they can't play a Roger. They can't play any kind of 10 drop, so Boa is another option if they are running it, but not all lists are running Boa. So, I mean, at this point, this is where they kind of have to start closing the game out, because we've gotten rid of 2 of their 4 bodies, and the Cavendish is actually getting them closer and closer to death, because it looks like their deck list is looking pretty thin. Their trash is full, deck is thin. With the Viola, they are grabbing a Cavendish. They're going to play a Memento to be able to draw 2 trash 1, pitching a Follow Me, and then they'll play a Cavendish over the Viola. They have 4 cards left in deck. So there are 3 cards left in deck because they just use Leader ability. And this is where we can actually just stall them out. At this point, we actually don't need to close out the game. We could let the Cavendish live, because if they want to swing with the Cavendishes, if they swing with both, they lose. They'll draw for turn, and if they swing with 1, they lose. So this is actually a real problem. It's a real problem with this deck at times. Lucy will sometimes just deck themselves out because they just draw so much. They double reduced it. I'm going to go ahead and... I think I want to go ahead and just give them a 1 and a 2. I think I want to keep this card on the field. Although you could argue that it might not be best for that. They're going to swing 9 into 4. I'm going to redirect this one into the 8 cost and give them a 1K. And then let's see if they want to swing their last Sabo into it. They do want to swing their last Sabo into it. We could protect it, but I think if we are playing for the stall game, it doesn't matter too much. I think what we could end up doing here is... Oh, man. Let's play the Sugar out so we can get usage out of our Dawn. Grabbing a Dellinger's pretty good here. We'll play the Dellinger out. And then we can swing 7 into the Sabo. Reduce the power of it. I think we swing another 7 with our leader, and then we can swing 9. So these are probably pretty easy for them to counter out of. The 7, and then the 9 they might want to block with the Rebecca. But from there, we pass the turn, and then we can just pass back, and then we can just pass back. As long as we stay relatively alive, I think we're okay. We also have a slow beam to protect us as well. 9 into 7 is the block. And then, yeah, they're at 3. Now they're at 2. And if they swing a Cavendish, we hope that they don't notice that they're at 2. That is something that if you're playing Sim, sometimes you don't see it. When you're playing this deck IRL, oh, so easy to see because it's like, where's my deck at when you're trying to draw? So let's see. Let's see if we go for the deck out angle, which sometimes is a legitimate way to beat Lucy. They do play a Boa Hancock. Really good card here because it prevents the Virgo. We're just going to go ahead and use the Virgo effect to prevent the Dellinger from going down. Really good use of the Virgo effect. And then they use the Cavendish to swing and they draw the 2 and they draw. They lose off the deck out. We got it. We got it. Oh my gosh. All right. Blue, yellow, Nami. They're already choosing to go first. That's not good for us. So we definitely want to try to go first against them. And this hand is pretty bad. So we're going to go ahead and mulligan it. And the reason it's bad is because we have nothing to play until our 6th dawn turn. So we have to be draw dependent, which is not good. This is actually a lot better because we have the sugar we can play down. We can use the sugar effect to search. And then we can play baby 5 the next turn. Now here they could... Dellinger's pretty solid because we can set this up the next turn with the baby 5 ramp. But if they swing into the sugar, we're actually really happy with that. I think most Namis will just swing life. They'll stack all the dawn on and swing 8 into lead. I'd rather see an 8 into lead than a girl 7 into lead because girl over the course of the game is actually a lot harder to deal with. 8 into lead's really good for us, although we don't want to take any hits because of the fact that they can get their leader ability off. Now these 10 drops could be useful. They do go rather wide, but we kind of have to make sure we establish a pretty good board before then. Here we'll go ahead and play the baby 5. And do I want to? I think I just want to go ahead and establish the Dellinger here, and we'll swing 5 into lead, just ask for their leader ability here. And with the Dellinger established, I think it's going to be okay because we can redirect into the Dellinger and not lose anything in the process. So I think instead of the sugar search, I think the Dellinger is a little bit better here. They do give us a 1K, which is not good to see the Dr. Hogback in the trash already. That could be a potential trigger. Nami on 5, classic. We have to take that life, and then with... Oh gosh, we can redirect. I forget that we can just redirect. I was just talking about this. I was like, we don't have a 2K to get out of this. That's fine. We can just redirect into the Dellinger. The next turn, we could establish a Virgo. I don't think the Virgo is awful here. The Monet is probably also solid too. We'll go ahead and I guess we can grab a 2K because we were looking for one just a second ago. We don't need another 10 drop or another 8 drop quite yet. We need to establish one 8 drop first, so that's also problematic. Here, what we can do is, I think we just use the sugar ability outright. I mean, that's fine. We can also play this sugar down as well. If they have a way to bounce it back, that is problematic for us, but I think it's going to be okay. And I think we just go ahead and grab another sugar, play the sugar down, and then we just swing 7 into lead, force them to use a leader ability plus a 1K. They'll probably just take this one, and hopefully with any luck, we don't see any triggers come out of life, but we always, I mean, they're hesitating here. There is a chance that this could be a trigger. And it is. Okay, so it's the 8-cost Moria to bring out a 4-cost from the trash. Unlucky. We don't want them to go really wide like they're doing right now. This is how we lose the game. Unfortunate for us, but I think we're going to probably have to take a hit. I don't want to use the baby 5. I want to go to 10. Oh, no. We're going to take another Nami. Yeah. Yikes. This is where it starts hurting for sure. We take a hit from the Nami effect, and then they're going to go probably like 6, 7. Yeah, that could be really good for them. That could be really annoying for us, actually. They could go 5, 7, 7 as well. But regardless, I think what we do is we redirect one of these into the sugar. We probably have to take one of them and then possibly counter out of the other one, depending on what they do. So, yeah, overall, really hard for us to come back from this point of the game. Look at our board. It's so bad compared to theirs. 5 into 1. I mean, we'll let this one go. Yeah, I'm okay with that. We have another backup sugar to be able to play. I think that's totally fine. Their board is so wide that I'm considering playing out the 10 drop, and I'm not sure if that's the best play, but it feels like an okay play overall. So with the Will You Be My Servant event, that's actually helping us out a little bit more because it means that we can actually get out of one of these attacks and then redirect the other one. So we're not losing all of the life in the world this turn. And they grab a Dr. Hogback off of that. Probably, if they're grabbing a Hogback off of that, it usually means that their search wasn't too good. So we're actually fine. So anyway, they'll swing 6 with the Nami. We'll give them a 2k here, and then we will redirect into the Sugar. I think Sugar redirecting into Monet or playing the Monet out just to make sure we have our options for 10, I think is fine. It might not be the best use of that, but I think it's okay to get the Monet going just because I want to keep my options for this next turn. I think since they have 3 units on the board, we just go ahead and swing 5, get their leader ability out. Once they get their leader ability out, we'll swing 6 into the Nami, hopefully get a character from their hand, and then we can freeze 3 characters with the 10 drop. I think it's probably a little bit better than the 8 drop into Virgo, although establishing a wide board on our end is not bad either. We aren't going to lose, but we're in a really uncomfortable spot after that. So like I said, we'll swing 6 into 6 and see if they let this go. The worst target to come out of that would be possibly like a Kikunojo. Could also be a Borsalino. Kikunojo it is. That is the worst target to see. Unfortunate. We'll go ahead and then prevent these 3 from resting and then hope that we'll be okay this next turn. We can also redirect into the Monet and ramp up again. And then play another 10 drop, and then after we've established a couple of 10 drops, maybe establish the 8 drop into a 5 drop. We unfortunately are just like not in a great spot. We're playing from behind. They've ripped a couple of life with the 5-cost Nami, which is a really good card against us. And now they're going to be starting to play out their big characters. And speaking of big characters, the 8-cost Moria comes down to, I would assume, likely heal. Yeah, play out the Hogback into life. Yikes. So this is looking more and more grim by the hour. It's unfortunate, but hey, it's part of the game. If they swing 5 into lead, I mean, we could give them a 1k, which would be rather unfortunate. We want to make sure that the Monet dies so that we can play back-to-back. Now, here's the question. Do we get rid of the Moria or do we freeze the 3 units from swinging again? And honestly, I guess we would probably have to prevent the units from swinging. At least here we can get a card out of hand that's been bricking us up, and we can play out the 10 drop next turn as well. So we'll swing 5 in the lead, see if we can get a leader ability. And I don't want to give them more bodies is the problem. Here's the thing, if I swing 5 and they take this, I think we just redirect into with whatever they bring out. But if they do not take this one, then I don't think we swing the 10 drop, because if we swing the 10 drop, then they have another body that we have to deal with. We already have to deal with these 3 with the 10 drop, and then the 8 drop is free on their end to do whatever it wants. Or we could KO the 8 drop and then have to worry about a bunch of little chump swings, which if they're going into 10, they probably have Newgate. A lot of things to consider here, and a lot of bad things to consider. There's no good play here, unfortunately. So they did give us a 2k off of their leader ability. So like I said, we're just going to not swing the 10 drop and just hope for the best here. And if they have a 10 drop on their end, then it's not looking good, because what we can do is try to bait out the block. This next turn, I'm assuming that they're going to play the 10 drop if they have it. That's probably their optimal curve. Swing 7 lead and then 12 lead. Yep. There's the 10 drop. 7 into 12. We can get out of a 7. We can also just get out of a 12 by redirecting it. But I think we just redirect into the baby 5, unfortunately. And what we could do from here is then use the Divine Departure on the next turn on the Moria, but I kind of want to bait the Newgate to swing or to block first. So I think what we do is we swing the 10 drops first with nothing on them, and then hope that the Newgate taps sideways. I think regardless, we're in a really bad spot. If we can't get a thing off the board this next turn, I'm pretty sure it's game over. We're going to go ahead and redirect into the baby 5 and use the effect. And then from here, we'll take that 12. I don't want to lose too many cards out of hand, and I don't mind like losing a life, or at least gaining the life and then getting it back in hand at that point. So another 0-cost event, pretty good for us to see. Now, do I want to get rid of the 8-drop that badly? I'm going to see what I can get out of their hand first. Their hand's pretty thick. I don't think this is going to do too much, and I also don't want to attack life. This is pretty much checkmate. It's like hard for us to get past this. So let's see what we can get out of their hand. 10 into 10. This is pretty easy for them to counter out of. I don't really want to give them too much done either, because I need 6 in order for me to be able to minus 8,000 to the Newgate. I guess you could argue that we could go ahead and just minus 8,000 to it right now. But I'm going to be honest, like, it doesn't matter too much. I think we're in a pretty rough spot regardless. If they give us any counter, I think it's just fair to surrender at this point. We don't really have a good spot, and this is why establishing a Pika is pretty important. And also, in this matchup, going first, so it's easier to get to the 8 cost. Yeah, they had so much going on. They had another 8 drop, another 10 drop, plenty of counter for days. We just unfortunately fell really far behind. That one trigger out of life put us a little bit further back than we wanted to. And then, of course, we just couldn't establish too many 10 drops along with other bodies, which kind of held us back. Into yellow Luffy, I am going to take second because I want to take away what I think is their better curve. And I think this hand is fine. We have Dellinger to play on 2. We have the Baby 5 to ramp up on 4. And then we can play the Monet to ramp up again or establish a Virgo. So we're looking pretty good here. They don't have a lot of removal other than maybe Zeus. So Zeus is the only thing that we have to really worry about removing any 5 drops. So if we establish a Virgo first, we're pretty set. They get the Nico Robin, which is the 7 cost that brings out a 5 cost character. So that is something that we have to be aware of on 7, but I'm not too worried overall. Redirecting into, I think maybe Sugar's fine so that we can go Baby 5 into Sugar. Just swing 5 to lead, see if they take this or not. Usually they'll take the first one because they're going to be playing out the 4 cost Zoro the next turn, but it looks like they're just going to go ahead and give us the Nico Robin. We don't have any information gained from them from that. And also they probably, in a world, might be wanting to be super defensive because if they can keep their life totals high, then it's easier for them to really protect their units later on in the game. Because I will try to at least, oh gosh, Nami. I actually think this is a really good tech for this deck, but I never see it in the Bell Luffy version. Just because like the leader ability doesn't protect it. Although I've argued that you don't really care about protecting this card, so understandable. It's actually a pretty nice addition to the deck. We have too many slow beams. We do not need this many slow beams. We're going to go ahead and ramp up with the Monet, see what we can grab here. I guess Dellinger's okay. And then what I can do is just swing 6 with lead. I'm going to establish the Dellinger. I'm not going to worry about using a slow beam right now. I don't really care to rest the Nami or whatever. It doesn't matter. And we'll swing 6. They give us another counter. Pretty good overall. Satori. So they're kind of playing an aggressive variant with all of the... I mean, maybe these decks have added Satori in. I wasn't running Satori when I was playing Bell Luffy at the beginning of the set, but maybe over the past couple of weeks, that is something that more Bell Luffys have added to their deck list. 5 cost Luffy would be pretty annoying. They could throw it down right now, and I would be pretty annoyed. As expected, it comes down. That is no surprise there. This turn, I mean, what is best for them is probably to swing the Shura into the Sugar. There you go. I'll let that one go. I only have a 2k in hand, so I can redirect. I can take one hit, redirect, and then counter out of another one. I think we go ahead and just do the 2k there. We can... They're swinging a little bit out of sequence. I think they probably just do 5, 6, 7. Because I can actually protect myself with the 1k I got out of hand, but I'm not actually going to use it here. I think it's okay to take this hit. Too many 10s and then too many slow beams. We are in a little bit of trouble here. Anyway, we'll go ahead and swing 5 into lead. And then I'm going to see if I can get any triggers out of them. Because if they're running Satori, there's a chance that they might have other triggers come out of life. And if we can get a trigger that comes out of life, then what that means is we can actually just stun 3 useful units against them. So they take, but they don't actually have a trigger there. We're going to go ahead and play out the 10 drop. We're going to go ahead and keep these 3 units from swinging. Not that it matters. I don't think the Shura is going to be swinging anyway. And then if we need to play another 10 drop, if it gets a little bit too dicey out there, what we could end up doing is just redirecting into the Monet, filtering our hand, which is going to be very useful right now. And then once we filter the hand, we can ramp up 2, and we should be able to get to 10 the next turn and play another 10 drop if we need to. They're really playing to out-sustain us here, which I guess is fine for us because their hand size is pretty bad, but I'm okay with this. I'm actually quite okay with this. 6 into 6, I'm also okay with this. We'll let it go. We don't need to redirect, so we can get that free ramp, get the free card draw going on. What is our best option? I guess one of the slow beams because we don't need 3 of them. And if they want to swing the Shura here with the remaining 4, I'm also okay with that. But they could also establish another Zoro. Looks like they're going to put on to the Shura and swing in. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take this one. That's fine. Actually, I could give him a 1k here. I don't need to go down to 1. I'll go ahead and give him a Sugar. And then what we could do is swing 5 lead. Oh man, this is a really tough turn. We could establish an 8 cost into Pika and then be set for the next 2 turns, but that's really scary. I am not entirely sure I want to do that or have time to do that. So I think what we do is we just establish another 10 drop and then play to heal with our leader ability. So that's probably the best bet. This third 10 drop is not necessarily going to be getting any mileage out of us, which is okay. At least we are stopping 3 attacks from hitting this next turn, taking back a turn on our end. So yeah, if a 10 drop on their end comes down, then the rest of the board gets to free themselves up. Look like they're just playing another 5 drop, which is obviously really scary as well, but I think less threatening than the 10 drop, because like I said, if they establish a 10 drop right now at 3 life, and then we start putting them down to 1 life, then they can continuously really heal up every turn. Here, they're just going to swing 10 into 10. I will just go ahead and give them a Pika. And if they want to swing 5, if they want to swing 7, whatever it is, I'm going to go ahead and redirect it into the 10 drop, because we only need 8 on this next turn anyway. Looks like 5 in a lead. That's fine. 2 open could be rifles, so keep that in mind. We'll go 5 in a lead and see what we can get out of their hand. And then at that point, I don't really want to risk any triggers coming out of the life, so I am going to turn my attention to the 5 cost and just slam into it and see if they can give us more counter or if they want to take life. Looks like they're taking life. That's really good for us. 10 into 7 again. If they do have the +4, I think it's only for leader. I don't think it's for characters. So another reason to turn our attention into this 5 cost Luffy. Looks like they're using the effect again. Go ahead and play out the Doffy. Use the Doffy ability to play out the Rosie pitch. And we did get a 0 cost event, which is actually pretty useful because we do have a lot of bricks in hand. And we weren't going to be able to play the slow beam, or 2 of them rather. So this turn we actually have Baby 5 redirect. We can ramp up with the 8 cost ability. And we have a slow beam as well. So if we want, we can slow beam one of the 5 drops and then hope that the other one doesn't get powered up too much. Borsalino is a little bit of a problem, which is a really good target for us to slow beam if we really want to. We could potentially try to go for game this next turn. 7 into lead. I think I'm going to take this one. It's really interesting. I think we're okay taking. I'm not really worried about... Oh, that's not good to see. We want to see counter out of life. We don't want to see any bricks because we already have a fair amount anyway. So we'll take these hits and see what they do with the rest of their Dawn. 8 into 5. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just take this one. And then we can redirect one of these hits into the Baby 5. And then if we need to, if they don't swing with anything else, like if they swing with a Nami, then we'll just redirect, or we'll use the slow beam to rest the Borsalino. Yeah, this is fine. We'll go ahead and redirect into the Baby 5, and then we'll heal back up. If we want to use, I'm trying to think if we want to use the slow beam here, and I don't think it's worth it. I think we just see if they swing the Nami, and then we can rest the Borsalino after that. And then we don't care about the leader attack. Yeah, 6 in the lead here. Let's go ahead and just use the slow beam. We are down to 5 Dawn, so we'll be at 7 to work with this next turn. So not the easiest to do lethal with, but we can still do it. We do see that they have a Nico Robin at the top, so a 1K going to hand. Good to note. And then 5 in the lead. I think we'll just go ahead and give them a 1K just to be safe in case the game here goes one more turn, which I doubt it will. We'll go 9 into lead. This one will have to be a rifle plus a 1K. And then from there, we should be able to just like close out with good swings. We could go like 10, 11, 12, and then a 5 as well, somewhere in between. Let's just see if they take the 10. If they take the 10, I'm more inclined to swing 11 with the 10 drop. And then, like I said, 12 with the Rosie. Barring that they don't have any kind of trigger that will save them here, I think we're in a pretty good spot. They did a really good job of going super wide, which is really scary against this deck. I think with Purple Doflamingo, it's hard to handle going wide until you get to 10, and unfortunately we didn't get our setup, but it looks like we might be able to close out regardless. That last life is not a good trigger for them, so we'll go ahead and just swing 12 into lead, and if their hand is how I've read it, which it looks like there might be some rifles, maybe a 10 drop potentially, I think we should be able to get through this. 1K, 1K, 2K, do they have 2 more 2Ks? It doesn't matter. They had a bunch of bricks in hand at that point. Yeah, a couple of rifles. I think that they had rifles a couple turns before, and 10 drop would have been good if they had it a little bit earlier, but this wide board was actually pretty menacing for us. We had to go for game there. Otherwise, I think we lose on the crackback. All right, going first in the rematch against Nami. This is actually pretty solid for us. We have triple Dellinger, which will allow us to prevent them from drawing with their leader ability every turn. And we can also get some searches off in the meantime. Hopefully, we'll be able to find a Pika or maybe a potential Virgo along the way. But what's most important, I think, is to try to establish an 8 drop as soon as we possibly can so we can go a little bit wide and then start freezing their units with the 10 drop. Pretty textbook. First turn, we're just going to throw the Dellinger down and pass. The next turn, what we can do is swing 5 with the lead. And there's also a world where we could swing 5 with the Dellinger, but I don't know. Usually they'll go ahead and use their leader ability, but sometimes if I'm playing as Nami, I'll take the first hit usually. And there's a world where we could swing with the Dellinger afterwards, but I think it's actually somewhat better to just put down the other 2 Dellingers. I know that sounds weird, but it allows us to at least have these things on the board and make sure they stick. And it's not easy for them. They do take that hit, which I'm surprised by, but it's not easy for them to just get rid of all of them. They have to either Zeus, which helps us, or Nojiko, which they're not always running. We'll go ahead and redirect and then grab. I think Pika is probably fine here. I know we mentioned getting Pika, but I'm thinking about the sugar as well. But Pika it is, and then we will go ahead and swing 5 this next turn. Ooh, Kikunojo is kind of annoying. We'll go ahead and swing 5 this next turn, and then actually sugar's pretty good. Let's swing 5 first. Make sure that we do this correctly because they are going to 6. So we do get punished if they have a Nojiko because they could bounce the sugar back and we haven't been able to establish a body. The Pika is probably, at least if the Pika gets 1 ramp off, I think we're okay. And we are playing for Pika, so let's just go ahead and play the Pika out. It's a threat. They have to respond to it. If they are responding to it, they're not establishing anything this turn, so they're not responding to it with that Nami. We are taking a life. We will go ahead and redirect into the Dellinger and grab a Virgo. I think Virgo's pretty good here because what we can do is play the 8 cost into Virgo. We'll go ahead and take that other life as well. Go down to 3. They could play another Nami this next turn, and that's actually pretty bad for us, but hopefully they don't see it. That's, you know, half the battle against Nami. Anyway, we're going to go and swing 5 into lead. They'll likely give us a leader ability. And then I think it's okay to turn our attention into the Kikunojo. I actually don't mind healing them as it means getting a body off the board. And if they give us a counter here, that's also really good as well. It is going down. They're going to heal off of that. We'll play out the 8 cost. Use the ability to then bring out the Virgo and then restand 1 at the end of the turn. Then use the 8 cost ability to ramp up. So we're in a decent spot here. We have 3 good bodies on the board. They've finally established their second one. Nico Robin is a very good body, of course. 6 in a lead. I think I'm okay with this. We'll go ahead and redirect into the Dellinger and we'll use the 8 cost ability at the same time. I think grabbing a 2K here, we don't need to go very, very wide with the 8 cost. We want to find more of the 10 cost than anything else. We're going to counter out of the other one with the 2K we just grabbed. Don't give them any information, and I think that's really good for us. Here is a really interesting turn where we're going to try to get as many of the trigger bodies out of life as we possibly can. And if we can get another body out of life, I actually am very happy with this because what it means is we can play the 10 drop and then freeze the 3 most efficiently. If we don't, then we just freeze 2. Go ahead and use their leader ability pitching a Gravity Blade. Really good use there because it is a pretty useless card once Virgo has hit the field. They take the 7. I imagine they'll take the 9. And then with this, we'll go ahead and play the 10 drop, establish it, and then go ahead and prevent these 2 from resting. So that means we're only taking 1 hit this next turn, and we can actually redirect into the 10 drop. Hopefully we find another 10 drop. It'd be really nice to be able to chain these. Unfortunately, we only have the 1. I think we passed up another one along the way through a search. Maybe we'll find it in life. Down comes an 8 drop of their own. 7 into lead. I think we can go ahead and just redirect into our 10 drop. Totally fine there. And we draw into it just in time. I think we'll swing 5. We'll swing 7, 9, 10. And we have the option of freezing 3 units or KOing the 8 drop. We had this same option last time, but our board wasn't nearly as good as it was as we are seeing right now. They give us a Nico Robin off of that for leader ability. We'll just swing 7 into lead. Hopefully we can get some more cards out of hand because 7 cards in hand's pretty hefty at this stage in the game. So we want to make sure that by the time that we are trying to close this game out, they don't have too many left. They do take this, which will be a trigger. It will be a Perona to freeze the Pika. We weren't swinging with that anyway, so fine with me. We'll go 9 into lead and then 10 into lead. Hopefully no trigger. If we get another trigger, then okay, there is another trigger. That is a little bit unfortunate. It is what it is. I think we just go ahead and swing 10 here, and then we will freeze. They give us 2 2Ks. Good to see that. We'll go ahead and freeze 3 of these units, the Nami, the Nico Robin, and Hugback's probably better to freeze, but I'm going to go ahead and just freeze the Perona just to be safe. And then we will ramp up with the Pika. And we can do another 10 drop if we get it. We'll go 5 in a lead. I think what we do is we just use a 1K here. The sugar's probably our best bet. And then if they go 5 into lead again, they could play 10 drop here actually and go 7-12. We saw this last time. No 10 drop. They put a Dawn underneath their leader, so no 10 drop there. So it could still be a 7-10 maybe. We'll take this one. And then I think we could redirect one of the attacks. We could redirect into a Pika. Okay, so second Moria comes down. Very unfortunate. Their board is super fat. All right, with the slow beam, that's actually pretty good for us. We're going to try to get close to lethal as possible. We're going to go 5, and then they'll give us a leader ability. 7 with the Pika. Then we're going to use the Virgo ability to minus the Dawn so we can actually get it back with the Rosie and Law. So we're going to minus that Dawn. Doesn't really matter. There's nothing we're really going to be trading into anyway. So 7 to lead. Imagine a counter comes out. It does. 9 into lead. This one will probably connect. And then I also think that the 10 drops will connect as well. Probably get down to 0. They'd have to drop a lot of cards in order to do that. And I don't have any rush threats that they really have to be concerned about. So they probably are going to be happy to take these 10 into 7. And then I'm going to play the Rosie and Law. Okay, so it is a Kikunojo, just a slightly better body overall. We'll be able to ramp up and then draw. So if we do get another slow beam, we can do double. Overall, pretty good turn there. 7 into lead. I think I'm just going to free block this one. I don't think there's any reason not to. And then from here, we should be able to get out of the rest of these attacks. Another 7 into lead. I could use a slow beam, but I'm going to hold on to it to see if they play anything else just yet. 10 into lead. We'll go ahead and take this one. They get their leader ability to draw. 7 into lead. I'm going to go ahead and use the slow beam here. I think it's a good time to use it so we can rest the other Moria. We'll go +2 and then rest the Moria and then give them a 1k. And then if they go big on the Robin, big on leader, we have enough Dawn. We also can redirect as well. So 10 into lead, we'll go ahead and take this one. And if they want to go 11 into lead, I can redirect. They probably are thinking maybe to play a Borsalino. That could be a pretty okay option. No Borsalino. Looks like they're just going to go 11 into lead and concede the game. We'll go ahead and redirect into the 10 drop and then give them a 2k. And then from there, we are able to win. They didn't have any way to heal back up. I think the 10 drop also wouldn't have been a great turn for them either. So we were able to actually grind them out going first. Pretty much textbook against the purple Enel there. I am glad that we were able to show off what I was hoping to show off with this deck. Against the blue-yellow Nami players, it was one of those where, yeah, if they see their curve, it's going to be really rough. I think trying to go first is obviously the best thing for us. But it's one of those things also where even if they go second, they have a good curve going second, and it can be pretty disastrous for us going second as well. So I am not entirely sure how to approach that matchup. I do think that if we can try to get an 8 cost down as soon as possible into a 10 cost, that's usually how you're going to try to come out on top of there. If you can only do 10 cost chains, it's a little bit rougher after that point, especially since you are stunning, and then eventually the board will be able to attack. So keep that in mind against that matchup. It could be a little bit rough. As far as to any changes to the deck, there's not too many changes I would make to the current deck list. I think if I am going to make any changes to it, it's going to try to at least add more baby 5s, because I do think having an additional baby 5 could be very useful, especially if you are taking a lot of aggro early and you need to be able to heal up consistently. Having 3 is usually good enough for me. I'm not entirely sure if this Rosinante is super necessary, but I do like having it in the deck, and obviously this blocker is not necessary overall, but I do like this card in general, and I do think it has some useful moments where you can play this down and feel pretty confident in playing it down that turn. Otherwise, I would look to increase the Monet to 4, because I do think that it acts as kind of like a backup Pika as a way to then redirect into the KO effect to ramp back up so you can play more 10 drops, because that's the whole point of this, is to play as many 10 drops as you possibly can, freeze the board, and then start swinging in with them every turn. So I do think that overall this list is pretty solid. If you do want to find these more consistently, you could add the 1 cost search event, which I do think is a pretty solid option for this, but I don't have really much room to do that right now. I do think that the 1 cost event is very useful to be able to consistently find what we need, but on top of that, we do have the Dellinger and Sugar to be able to do that pretty easily, and otherwise we have a solid 5 curve into usually 8, which we can find by then. So pretty happy, but I do think that there are some changes you can make. Those are up to you, of course. With all that being said, let me know in the comments what you guys think about Purple Doffy. Have you guys been running him at any locals with any success? And if you have added anything spicy into the deck list, please let me know about that in the comments as well. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.